All right. So today's topic of our webinar Wednesday is going from 5th to 6th grade, transitioning to junior high, which is crazy to think about that is almost here for all of you, for your children, or possibly in the next couple years. We wanted to do this webinar because, at this time we're getting a lot of questions.
What?
I don't want anything.
I'm gonna mute. Okay. So we know that there's a lot of questions and we're just going to get right into it. So I am Kathy Counterman, the library media specialist. That's my official title here at Fielder. And with me, we have, if you guys want to introduce yourselves, we'll start with Rebecca Pruitt.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Pruitt. I'm the library media specialist at Beck Junior High. Nice to meet y'all.
And then
I'm Rebekah Jernberg. I will be the 6th grade counselor at Beck next year.
You are muted.
Hi, I'm Staci Stewart. I'm the counselor at Fielder.
Yep. I feel like we all need t-shirts that says you're on mute, because that's something that happens all the time to everybody. All right, so really fast before we get into the nitty gritty of all the counselor things, Rebecca and I wanted to talk kind of about library really fast in the junior high, because there's a lot of similarities, but there's also a few differences. So if you see all these books that are on the screen right now, these are all super popular in elementary school. They're all also in junior high. So these are what's called, well, some of them are all ages. Smile kids in kindergarten really like, but they're more like middle grade, grades 4 through 8. So those are the books that you find straddle the elementary and junior high. But then I always get questions like, can I have Hunger Games or Maze Runner or Divergent? Like they've seen the movie and they want this book. Well, those are not in elementary, but once they get to junior high,
they're here. So I taught 6th grade ELA when I was in the classroom and really enjoyed just the newness and how exciting junior high was. And as the librarian, talking to 6th graders when they come in, they always come in with those questions. Do you have the Maze Runner? Do you have the Hunger Games? And then we get to have like a fun dance party about how excited we are about having all of these new books that are in the junior high library. So there's a lot of really cool things to get excited about, but also their choices are they have a lot more choices in junior high. So even the nonfiction books that they enjoy, I know a lot of us love the National Geographic, like Weird Science or 365 Facts about, dogs, and we definitely still have those, but a lot of different nonfiction topics are also available for students to start reading and enjoying. So that's the most exciting thing about junior high. But one of the questions that we get so often about junior high library is the new KDISD junior high young adult distinction. So I wanted to give you all a little bit of information on it. A book that is in our junior high library that will have a young adult sticker on it is a book that's considered young adult if it starts with a majority of the interest levels with 7th and 8th grade. So it's going to be cataloged as a young adult book in our library, and there is a notification system that KDISD has set up where parents will be notified upon checkout of a young adult book. So that's something that's very new and we get a lot of questions about. So if you have any questions about that, let us know. But also it's important to know that as KDISD librarians and with our library services at the district level, there is a continual process that junior high young adult books have to go through to be included in our library. So we are always monitoring what we are including in the libraries and ensuring that they are appropriate choices for meeting the needs of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in our district. Which leads me to the next thing. I always have parents that ask me, why do I have an email notification about my child checking out young adult books? Well, whenever you update your registration for the following school year in Power School, I know there's like a million or so questions that you're clicking through trying to update all of that information. Young adult email or young adult notification emails are actually part of that registration, and it's a one page with one question, and it will ask you if you'd like to opt in or opt out of a daily notification email to notify parents of a current young adult library book checkout. So to opt in to receiving those emails, there's a checkbox and you'll leave it checked. If you would like to opt out, then you leave that checkbox unchecked in your PowerSchool. So I'm seeing, are sixth graders allowed to check out young adult books? Yes, sixth graders are allowed to check out young adult books. In the KDISD junior high libraries, the books that are available on the shelves are available for any of the 3 grade levels. We don't have an 8th grade only section. We don't have a 6th grade only section. So those books do have a sticker on the back of them as well. So if parents or guardians prefer to chat with their child about maybe you should be picking books that don't have a young adult sticker on the back, that is a parent and child conversation that can definitely be had. But everything that we have is available for any student.
Well, and then if I can jump in also, if you have an incoming 6th grader and you're concerned, you can opt in, right? Is that what it is? And then you'll be notified every time they do check out one like that. Now, you can always go into the app and see what they have checked out anyways, but this would give you a daily notification?
Yes, anytime that your child checks out a book on that day, about 4 o'clock, I think is when those emails go out, you'll receive an email. Perfect.
On to all the fun.
All right, my turn. Some of this information, in fact, a majority of this information I have already covered when I had our transition from elementary to junior high meeting with all the elementary combined back in, I think it was January. I can't keep track now. But I just wanted to go over, and those that missed it, you guys also have the opportunity to hear about it. I get a lot of questions about KD Advanced Placement or CAP courses. That is new at the junior high level compared to elementary. And these classes are for our core content, your English, math, science, and social studies classes. These classes go at a quicker pace, okay? So these are for our students that learn very quickly, they understand concepts quickly, and so it moves at a quicker pace. There are also some topics that they go into more detail about. So like I know I used to be in the classroom for math. So for math, if you were in a 6th grade CAP course, you would be learning all of 6th grade math TEKS and half of 7th grade math information in 6th grade. Science, they go into more detail in certain topics, same with social studies and same with English language arts. So if you're trying to decide whether or not your child should be in CAP classes or if they should be in regular, just on-level classes, that's something to keep in mind. If they learn at a very quick pace, then I would say give them a try at doing CAP courses. If they kind of, not necessarily struggle, but if they don't like to study, if they don't like to do the extra homework, then CAP is not a place for them. And so that just a regular on-level class would be the best placement for them. Going into junior high, there is a whole lot of more responsibilities and freedom. We no longer walk from class to class in straight lines. And so that a lot of our 6th graders have a hard time with that. And so, the first couple of weeks we're teaching them, to make sure that they are getting to the, their class the quickest, that they are taking the correct route. And so some 6th graders struggle with that, but I'm here to kind of help them understand that, 6th grade, you're a little more independent. You're not always relying on your teacher for things, that you are the one that, that they're the ones that need to kind of advocate for themselves, which we'll get to in a minute. Also in junior high, a lot of our 6th graders struggle with change, and that can come from anywhere from their schedules being changed to change in friends. When I was the 6th grade counselor a couple years ago, a lot of my students struggled with their friends changing. And so friends that they had in elementary didn't necessarily go on into middle school, just because there's more things for them to be involved in and there's more classes. So who they were, best friends with in 5th grade because they were in the same class together may not be, their friendship will still be there, but it may not be the same when they come to junior high. And a lot of students do struggle with that. So, to prepare them for it, just kind of let them know that they're going to be a lot more students that, they may be making friends with. Our 6th graders, I also like to help teach them how to advocate for themselves. If they are struggling in a class, it is the student's responsibility to go to the teacher and kind of say, hey, I need help. What are your tutoring hours? What days do you have tutoring? It's also our students' responsibility to check Home Access Center, and that's where they will have all their grades posted. I go in to the classes and I show the kids how to get on Home Access Center and access their grades. And that's something that they need to start doing, from the get-go, checking it 2-3 times a week, making sure that their grades are uploaded, that they are on track, and that they aren't, struggling. And if they are struggling, that's when they need to advocate for themselves to the teacher about coming to tutorials. Getting involved at junior high, we have a lot more options for them to get involved. We have a lot more clubs. This year, even with, COVID protocols and stuff, we've got, goodness gracious, we have I can't even think, like a math club. We have a robotics club. We have Beck Backstage. We've got, Ms. Pruitt, do we have any clubs through the library we have like a book wars club, don't we?
Yeah, so we have Katie Book Wars that we didn't get to do this year, but Katie Book Wars is through the library. I know that there's a lot of plans in the works. There's a couple teachers, and I'm interested in doing like a tabletop board game club. We're also talking about what we can do to try to get together like a crafting type of club. So there's a lot of different student organizations and interests that we're seeing on our campus and trying to help formulate those groups so that kids can get together that have the same interest.
And this all occurs during advisory or before and after school. It does not occur during like their actual class time. Is there a tutorial schedule? Each teacher has a time and days for their tutorials. So I know like one math teacher might have tutorials Tuesday mornings and Thursday afternoons. And then another 6th grade math teacher might have tutorials Monday afternoons and Wednesday mornings. So it just depends on your teacher and what, kind of works for them. Advisory, I've talked about that, I've said that word a couple of times. That is a class that all students take, all 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students take. That is a time for them to attend tutorials if they can't attend before or after school, do any clubs that they are interested in. They receive some of their guidance lessons through my office. I know in elementary they receive Purposeful People. In junior high, it becomes Character Strong. So that's where they will receive their Character Strong lessons. So advisory is an additional class that students will also have in junior high compared to elementary. Okay. Let's see. Can we go on to the next slide? All right.
Okay, I wanted everybody to have just a little takeaway with them today. These are just some websites that I've been using lately, either with the kids or myself. These are more for, well, really only Big Life Journal, the one in the middle, is actually more for kids. We've been talking a lot about anxiety and that type of thing, and everybody, everything that I've read so far talks a lot about gratitude, and that if you can have a grateful heart, that sort of thing, then your anxiety diminishes. And so a way to do that is to do journals and journaling. And so Big Life Journal actually reached out to me, and I've been receiving emails from them, and you do have to pay for their journals, but they do give you a lot of ideas, and they give me some free downloads every once in a while. But there's a lot of printables that I've used, but they also target parents and things to do at home. And so this I've been sending a lot of this home if parents have requested anything from me. So Big Life Journal is just something that you can use. It gives positive ways to say things. It has a growth mindset type of thing. It also has a blog for you to follow. I just really like it. It's fun to look at, and they make a lot of posters, and I think you might find it useful at home. And so I went ahead and put that on there. Child Mind Institute, I just received this week, but oh my gosh, it is, it's a website, but it has many articles discussing parenting. They discussing parenting for tweens, for preteens, for teens. I went ahead and put 3 articles that I saw just right away that, and I read, and they were super. They were like the pro tips for having a teenager, dealing with conflict, which I know is a big deal, especially not only with kids at school and their friends. That's what I get a lot at the elementary school, is people come in and say, I'm being bullied, when really what they mean is they're in an argument with their best friend and they just need some guidance to help with that conflict. So this is just an article helping deal with that. But there was a ton of information. There wasn't enough for me to be able to read all on my own, but I wanted to give that to y'all just so you could kind of look through that. If you have some questions, you can't get in touch with me, but you need maybe some pro tips. And then finally, I put NetSmarts on here about internet safety. I actually got a phone call earlier this week, and from a parent who was concerned because she found some things that were kind of concerning on her child's phone. And so she's just now starting to notice that her child's doing things that she didn't know that she would do before. And I was like, welcome to welcome to preteens and teenagehood. So and I told her, I was like, while it's developmentally appropriate for them to do things, it's not appropriate for your family. And so it's time to start talking about rules and that sort of thing. So this resource I've used as a counselor, I've used as a teacher, and I have used as a parent. It has a ton of resources for parents regarding cyber safety, cyberbullying, lots of pro tips about how to keep your kids safe on their devices. Even talks about some of the apps that you can use on your phone or at home to keep that internet safe while your kiddos are at home using their devices. So this was just a takeaway from my office. I'm hoping that y'all will be able to use it. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to contact me. I have a lot more, but I thought this would be a good start. And I haven't been looking at any of the questions. What was this latest question I had?
Just the last thing that you mentioned about teens, the NetSmart. It's the
NetSmart's, right. It's a website that you can go to, and it just gives a lot of resources, gives you, actually even has some PowerPoints and things like that for you to watch, as well as videos and things like that. It's just information for you to have as a parent and then to impart on your child, whatever you feel is safe for your child when they're using devices. I just know that right now we're seeing our kids do some things that, because they're older, we've been giving them some freedom, but maybe we need to kind of rein it back in. Or maybe, there haven't been any rules yet for their devices, but now that you've noticed on their phone, as you're checking, you're seeing some things that you're concerned about. So this is just be a good time between that transition to being, a kid at elementary school, and now we're talking about being a preteen at middle school. They're going to start being involved in a lot more things with a lot more people. And so this would just be a good way for you to think about how you're going to use devices at your house.
And we will
your
send
kiddos.
out this Google sheet, so y'all get the presentation with the links to everything as
Mm-hmm.
well. So that's all for the big presentation part, but we definitely still have time for more questions. And before we do that, I wanted to put in my own question for Ms. Pruitt. I wanted to know, I mean, I have a question for a librarian. I know people have asked me, how does library work in junior high? Like, do kids just go whenever? Do they still have classes? Can they like volunteer in the library?
So the junior high library is a super exciting new freedom that kids have as well. So normally at most elementary schools that I've talked to the kids about, they go to the library with their teacher every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on where it falls in the schedule. And while we still have ELA teachers come into the library for lessons, we also have just kind of like this, it's not free time, but your ELA teacher and every teacher on campus has library passes that when it's an appropriate time for you to come visit us in the library to turn in your book, check out a new book, look for a recommendation. I like to play like 20 questions, like what do you like to read and what do you watch on TV? And I enjoy talking to the kids one-on-one and helping them find something to read. So my favorite time is whenever they come in individually when it's appropriate, and they always love that because it's like they're going on an adventure by themselves and they have permission to be by themselves. We also have different contents that have come into the library to do some really fun things. We had a social studies, we had 8th grade social studies in here the other day doing a breakout box. So that wasn't exactly an English class in here. There's just a lot going on that is a little bit different than maybe what they're used to in elementary. There's always something new going on every day. The volunteers that we have in the library that are students are actually our 8th grade student aides. So we don't have like 6th and 7th grade volunteers in the library. But I always love to talk to the kids that do want to volunteer in the library, because then I keep reminding them until they're registering for their 8th grade classes that they should come help Miss Pruitt in the library and be a student aide.
And that's when she comes to me and says, I need so-and-so as a student aide, because so she builds really good relationships with the kids.
Yes, because I won't take no for an answer unless they need a different class. but we have a lot of fun with it. So there's always something new going on, especially if your student does love the library. We just do some fun stuff.
Awesome. Fun stuff in the library. I like how that sounds. And I know it's the same at Cinco Junior High as well. And most junior high libraries that I know in terms of that. So I didn't know if anyone else had any more questions. If it's something super specific, I'm sure you can contact now it's Miss Stewart, I believe, is the contact. If they have questions, should they be talking to you, Ms. Jernberg, or Miss Stewart?
Oh,
Right now, yeah, if it's counseling related, it would be with Miss Stewart up until May. I've got my 8th graders that I've got to get ready for high school. So it's a help if you guys can contact with Miss Stewart first.
right. So about what, six more weeks with me.
I
I
think
feel
it's
like I've
39
got
school
4
days.
Yeah, right.
All right. Is there any other questions, any pressing concerns?
All right, I think if we have no questions.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Recorded. I'm gonna send it out. Feel free to share.
Oh, I do have a question. Where will they find the recording?
I'm going to
I had
email
another
it.
parent ask, they couldn't be here. Where will it?
I'm going to email
So-
it to everyone that signed up,
Okay.
as well as I upload it to the Fielder and Fielder Library YouTube, and I'm going to send
YouTube.
it
Okay.
to I'm sorry, you're both Becca, but gonna send it to Becca. She's gonna put it on, you said counselor.
Her
Our
counselor.
counselor website, yeah.
Yes, and
Okay.
you can let people know as well that we're going to send it out in next week's e-news, in the Fielder e-news, for anyone
Okay.
that missed it. Yeah, we really want to make sure. Oh, excellent! Share on the PTA page. That's very helpful. Thank you. Yeah, this is not a secret club. I'm glad that you all can
No.
come. Really glad. Next year, we're hoping. I know that you all have 5th grade students, but if you have younger students as well, or you have friends to pass along, we're hoping to have like things in person to still kind of continue having well, they wouldn't be webinars, but in-person sessions on different topics throughout the year. Hopefully it could be like with coffee and donuts or something, or lunch and learns instead of webinars, which webinars are great, but it's I like donuts. I don't know.
Same, count me in.
Yeah.
You can come. All right. Thank you guys.